everyone, I'm Laura from LauraGYOGA, and this is the second video in our chakra yoga sequence. So we're going to be doing the Sacral Chakra, which is located a little bit below the belly button and of course at our sacrum, that fused part of the lower back that's right in between the two crests of the pelvis. And this area is responsible for our creativity, our passion. It's the physical ability for, especially for women, to create another life. It's associated with the ovaries and the uterus, that being able to create and continue our species on. But also being able to be creative in our problem solving and in the way that we approach challenges in our life. And making sure that we're not going into the other end of things where we're trying to be manipulative, that we're trying to bend things to our will. It's really more about us being flexible with our situation and just kind of going with the flow. The sacral chakra, the element that's associated with the sacral chakra is water. So during our physical practice to work on this area, we'll do a lot of fluid, flowing kind of movements to enhance our ability to go with the flow. And this is a big issue, I think, for a lot of people. We tend to get rigid. We have our schedule, and we have our to-do list, and we have our things that we need to make happen within a day. And if our plan goes astray, it can be very stressful for us. But we know that most of the time, our plans don't go exactly the way that we want them to. So being able to go with the flow is a huge way to release stress from your life, that you can just roll with the punches, so to speak. For our practice, we're going to just need a yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, a really thick book or something that you can settle your hips onto will do the job as well. But I'll move the block right out to the side there. And I'm sitting in hero pose. If this bothers your knees at all, you can sit in a cross-legged position in Sukhasana, or you can take your block and put it underneath your hips, and that just lifts you up so there's less stress in your knee joint. Makes the hero pose a little bit more comfortable. Now the other aspect of our physical practice that we'll be doing is strengthening the lower belly. We know this is a place that a lot of us are weak, so we need to strengthen the lower abdominal muscles, but also the rest of what we call our core, which is also our glutes and our lower back muscles and the outsides of the hips. So all of these stabilizing muscles that go around the pelvic girdle are really important for this chakra. So we'll start in hero pose, and we're going to stack the palms of the hands and then connect the thumbs at the top so that we encircle this area right here. Let your shoulders relax and reach the crown of the head up toward the ceiling. And then as you slow your breath down, try to draw your breath even lower than you normally would, like you're breathing right down into the bowl of the pelvis. As you take those deep breaths, bring your awareness to that space within the circle. And keeping in mind that for the chakras, there is a front and a back component to each of them. The sacral area of the spine and the lower belly. And then we'll take our mantra, our Bij mantra, which for the sacral chakra or Svadhisthana chakra is VAM, V-A-M. And we can chant this much the same way that we would chant Om. So you can either do an internal mantra, or you can actually chant the mantra out loud if you'd like. And we'll go 3 times. Vam. Releasing the hands, bringing them down onto your thighs. We'll start our physical practice with a kundalini kriya, And we're going to do the spine flex. So we're going to exhale, curl your tailbone underneath, round your shoulders, drop your head. Inhale, press the heart forward, lift your head. Inhale forward, exhale back. And especially on your exhale back, try to tuck your lower belly in. Putting some strong breath behind this, you're going to close your eyes and focus your awareness into that sacral chakra area. The lowest part of the back and the lowest part of the belly. Couple more breaths like that. You can start to slow it down. And sitting in stillness. Feeling anything that has changed, anything that feels different after that kriya. I'm going to take that block out from underneath my hips and swing the legs around to come into a comfortable seat. Our mantra for the sacral chakra, since we're working with the water element, is the phrase, I am fluid and flowing like water. And this is a mantra that I use very regularly in my own life when something goes wrong with my schedule, when something unexpected pops up and I feel myself resisting that change. I say this mantra to myself a few times so that I can just kind of let it go and go with the way that things are unfolding. And it makes the events a lot less stressful. So it's a good functional mantra during your day. And we'll just sit and settle, repeating that mantra to yourself a few times. I am fluid and flowing like water. Okay, then we'll start a little flow from side to side, working with our side bends. With the physical body, side bending is a fantastic way to open up your lower back. If you get tight lower back muscles, side bending is excellent to work that out. Letting this be one breath per movement so that you get a really good flow. Exhale to the side, inhale, center, exhale to the other side. We'll take that same concept into our twist. Inhaling center, exhale, sweep to the right. Inhale it up to center, exhale to the left. Just one breath per movement. Trying to get that perfect vinyasa, that perfect match. One more twist each side. We'll come back into center. Take the feet out in front of you and the hands behind you so that you can lean back a little bit. And then we'll just roll the knees from side to side. This is a great movement to warm up your hips and loosen up your lower back if you tend to have some gripping in that area, which a lot of us do, especially if we stand a lot. And we're going to add another movement to this, a little bit of a rotation through the spine. As the knees drop to the left, I'm going to sweep my right arm up and reach in this really great spiral. Come back to center, roll the knees a few times. Knees go to the right and I spiral my left arm up. We'll take that one more time on each side. Rock the knees. Knees go to the left, right arm spirals up. Back to center, rock the knees. As the knees go to the right, my left arm sweeps up. And come back into center. Okay, let's come over onto hands and knees. We can take our cat and cow, but I like to change cat and cow when we're working on the sacral chakra. I want you to initiate that movement from the sacrum. You're going to tuck your tailbone down and let that wave roll up the spine until you're in this hollow cat stretch. And then do the same thing to come out. Lift the tailbone, roll that movement up the spine until you're in cow. Tuck the tail, roll to the top of the spine, lift the tail, and roll that up to the top of the spine. So it's a wave. And it takes a lot of concentration to do that, to be able to manipulate the muscles, to make the body move that way. And take one more breath like that each way. Now from our table, we're going to come into Gomukhasana legs. I'm going to take my right leg, cross it in front of my left leg, and start to fan my feet up toward the sides and walk my hips back. Now my hips are pretty tight, so I'm going to sit on my block. It just gives me a little better alignment in this hip opener. But you can wiggle yourself down into it until you get pretty deep. And then take an exhale, let yourself settle. And this is a pose where it's going to be uncomfortable. It's a very intense opening feeling in the hips. And as long as you feel like you're not moving into that sensation of pain, then you're just going to try to breathe yourself through it. Breathe through that discomfort. See if you can just settle with that strong sensation. And then we'll add our flow here with a nice side bend each way. We want to make sure that as we have that strong sensation in the hips from being in Gomukhasana, that the rest of the body doesn't start to tense in response to it. One more side bend each way. Lean forward. Take a couple breaths. Just deepening into the hips. And lift your hips up, come back onto the knees. And we're going to draw the feet together. Uncross the right knee. Come through your table and just sway the hips from side to side. After a few rounds, you can sit yourself deeper into that. Press your weight back into your left hip. Come center and then sit your weight back into the right hip. It's a nice lower back stretch. Now let's go over to the other side so we can even that out. Left knee is going to cross on top. Spread the feet out to the sides. And then either come all the way back and settle your hips, or if you want to prop underneath you, you can put a blanket or a block, whatever lifts you up. Drop the shoulders down, lift the crown of the head. And then to keep the rest of the body fluid while we go into that intense hip opening, we'll sway from side to side with the arms. More on each side. Bring yourself forward, deepen for just a breath or two. Lift yourself up, move your prop out to the side, uncross the knees, sway the hips out. Maybe stay on one side for an extra breath. Drop some more weight into the hip to go deeper. Okay, then we're going to take our block or your book, whatever you have for your prop, and I'm going to put it underneath my left shin so that my kneecap is actually off of the block. I'm just resting my shin right on that flat edge. Then place your hands underneath your shoulders, and what you're going to get is a slope across your sacrum. Then to even that out, we're going to lift the knee up and then lower it down. Lift up just until the lower back is level and lower it down. You'll start to feel lots of work through your lower belly and through your lower back stabilizers. These are muscles that pretty much all of us need to strengthen. Now we'll take this a step farther. I'm going to move up so I have a little more space. You'll lift so that you're level. Send your right foot back and send your left arm forward. You're in a balancing table, but we have that extra element of balance that we're lifted up on the block. Lower that side down, and then we'll try that one more time. Lift your knees until they're level. Send that leg back, opposite arm forward. Stabilize, draw up with your lower belly. Lower that side down, and then switch it to the other side. Block underneath the shin. Let your kneecap hang off. Make sure that the hands are right underneath the shoulders. And we'll start out just lifting and lowering the opposite knee so that you're level, and then you release down. Bring it up to level and release it down. And then once you've done a few of those and you can feel the muscles that you need to engage, send your left leg back and your right arm forward into balancing table. Stabilize through the lower belly and the lower back. Release that side down, rest for a moment. Lift the knee up until you're level, send that leg back. Send the opposite arm forward. Release down. Take that block out. And just shake the shoulders and the hips from side to side to make sure everything's loose. Good. We'll take the right foot forward, so we're into a lunge. And we're just going to rock that lunge forward and back. Be very careful as you come back that you're not overstretching the hamstrings. One more time here. And then we'll bring the right foot back and the left foot forward. Now if you have trouble with that transition, which a lot of people do, you can always have blocks underneath your hands, and it just lifts your body up so you have more space to step the foot through. Gently rocking forward and back. Using your breath with that inhale, come forward. Exhale, fold back. And then we're going to use this side to make a very important transition to one of my favorite movements. So as you come into your lunge, curl your back toes underneath, come into a high lunge, and then we can pivot the feet around so that we're in a wide leg forward bend. And just let yourself fold into that. If your back is really rounded, put blocks underneath your hands so that you can stay up higher and maintain that line through your upper body. I don't want you really rounded and hunched and pulling on the sacrum. You're going to heel toe your feet just a little closer so that you have some freedom through your hips. And then we sway it out from side to side. Bend into your left knee, bend into your right knee, just shifting your weight back and forth. This is the movement where you can work on that concept of being really fluid, just moving with the flow, being graceful, being able to adapt to your situation and your surroundings. One more movement to each side. Coming back into center, we're going to come out of the pose the same way we came in. Pivot the feet around until you're in a high lunge. Drop your back knee. Step your left foot back so you're into table. Shake your shoulders and hips out. And then we're going to drop the hips over to the side so that we can turn around and come into a comfortable seat. On your exhale, roll it down onto your back. I'm going to plant my feet on the mat so that they're hip distance apart. And then I'm just going to start to do a pelvic tilt. Exhale, roll your hips back, drop your belly button down. Inhale, release into a normal lower back arch. Exhale, tip back. Inhale, release. So you're drawing the top of the pelvis toward the bottom of the rib cage and then relaxing them apart. Now I'm going to use that to roll up into a bridge. Exhale, tuck your belly button down, lower back rounds. As you inhale, lift from your tailbone and roll up the spine. On your exhale, roll it down. Keeping it fluid here. Tip the hips back. Inhale, lift the hips up and roll up the spine. Exhale, articulate from the top down as carefully as you can to lower it. feel the control that you need to create with your abdominal muscles to get that good articulation in the lower back. Okay, last thing that we're going to do here for the sacral chakra is a supported bridge. So I'm going to grab my block, go through that same process of rolling yourself up into bridge, and then I'm going to slide my block right underneath my sacrum. And you can see here are my hip points. I'm going to slide back, and the block is going to be just below that, so that we know we're on the fused part of the lower back. We don't want to be on the lumbar vertebrae. Once you get that support, take your exhale and just let your hips settle into it. Let your hips feel heavy. Drop your arms down. And start to do some movements with the legs, lifting one knee and then the other knee. Very slowly. And then if you'd like, you can take both knees up. Just make sure that you're very firmly planted on that block. Legs can come up into a modified shoulder stand. Bend the knees. Drop the feet back down. Take your last few deep breaths here, just letting the hips sink into the block. On your inhale, lift the blocks up off the hips up off the block. Move the block out to the side. And then you can do your knee sway again. Rocking to one side, rocking to the other side. Coming up into the middle. You drop your knees over. Pushing up into sitting. And that is the end of our sacral chakra practice. So I hope you feel very creative and passionate now. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.